So Batman Venom, or Batman's Adventures with Steroids, starts off with Batman under trying to rescue a kidnapped girl in a very not good situation. It's raining heavily, the mine is collapsing and flooding currently, so he has to rush in there and go save her. But unfortunately, the room she's kept in is being blocked by a bunch of rocks. Batman tries to pull all the rocks out, and being a mortal man, he can't exactly just physical his way out of it, and since he's not Superman, he can't do that. Well, I guess the better term to say is because he is just completely human and not Superman, he can't exactly do that well. And the girl dies. Batman is very grief stricken and thinks that he's completely failed, but then Alfred just kind of points out, did you expect to always win? And Batman's like, yeah, I guess I'm pretty egotistical for thinking I would always win. He's pretty tired, but he decides to go, tell the father of the girl that the girl died. And so he does, but the father doesn't really seem that bothered by the death of the daughter, and he's just kind of like, hey, check these out. I got drugs. Do you want some? If you had these, you definitely could have saved my daughter. Yep, definitely not putting off shady drug dealer vibes. Definitely not. Batman at first refuses, but then one of the kidnappers, who apparently were after the drugs because I guess one of the kidnappers' gang friends wanted them. So Batman disposes of one of them, asks the person to call the Mr. Porter, that's the drug dealer guy, to call the police, and he goes after the van, but since it's still raining, he can't exactly hold on for dear life and slips and gets a nasty injury to his shoulder. So he returns home and tries to, get some workout done, so he can not fail again like he did the Sissy Porter. He immediately injures his arm even more because it was already heavily injured, and now it's swelling. But he decides, you know what? I gotta get those kidnappers. So he stubbornly heads out, gets some the paint from the van that because it crashed into a pole during the chase. Then he does some rudimentary investigating, calls Harvey Dent because by the way, this takes place during his early days. He calls Harvey Dent and Harvey tells him that one of the guys is at this one location. So he goes in there, dresses up as Batman. While Alfred's just kind of like, dude, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna keep doing it like this, I'm gonna quit. And Batman just kind of ignores it. He did hear it, he just ignores it. So Batman storms in, but one of them was on the drug that Mr. Porter was selling and beats the crap out of Batman, or pretty much just immediately overpowers him because one, Batman is injured, and two, the guy was taking pretty much super steroids. And the guy's friend got some good wallopes in him, and then he got thrown out a window, which didn't exactly help the shoulder. So Batman passes out, and Alfred carries him off back to Wayne Manor. But mysteriously, the guys didn't come out because not totally completely it's completely a mystery who this guy is. It's Mr. Porter. It's definitely Mr. Porter. Look at those glasses. Comes in and is like, no, let him be. His time is not yet. So Bruce has a nightmare, and it's pretty much just you're not cut out for this, go do something safer. Because he thinks he's weak, male pride, toxic masculinity, all that jazz. So he wakes up and Alfred tells him that he came up with a very ludicrous story, to say the least, but Bruce immediately is like, okay, I have to go see the drug dealer guy because clearly I'm not strong enough. So he goes to the drug dealer guy, and drug dealer's like, been expecting you, buddy. So here's a month's supply. Here, take one right now, and take one a day. And this is a month's supply. If you use this, Gotham's your bitch. So he takes one, immediately goes to the Batcave, and he throws up the the weights like with ease. The one he had struggled with that was way too much for his damaged shoulder. Then he goes after the guys and pretty much trounces them, and then begins to laugh because he's like, I'm strong now. And that's a really bad sign. In part two, let's just say Bruce has gone off the deep end and become a full-blown steroids addict. And by the way, this isn't actually steroids, it's Venom. Like, the drug is called Venom, but it's not, the Venom that Bane takes. It's in its earliest form. Bane took a special type of Venom. This comes in pills. Bane's Venom gets injected into your head. But anyway, pretty much Bruce has just gone into full-blown power trip mode. And let's just say he's been enjoying being a bully to a lot of the criminals of the city. Very much being a bully. I mean, look at him. He punched that guy in the crotch. And Alfred is placating him, but Bruce has become a full-blown toxic masculine man, thinking that big muscles make you big and strong. They're the only thing that's worth it. And that all the scribbled up people that don't do anything are the real problem. And Alfred, let's just say, is getting pretty sick of this. So he just decides to walk out, and Bruce decides, you know what? I gotta get my fix. So he goes to Dr. Porter, but then he meets a certain, what I meant by deep end is that Bruce isn't even going out as Batman. He's going out in, Raphael's usual getup. So this is the first time he's actually used the bat suit in a while. And Alfred's just kind of like, before he left, he's kind of like, dude, are you ashamed to actually wear this now? It was just like, I have no shame. Anyway, so Bruce suits up as Batman and goes to Dr. Porter to get, the usual stuff. And he meets up with Dr. Porter's financial advisor, General Timothy Slaycroft, who's, pretty much General Ross. I guess you could say he's General Ross, or any standard, military ex-military person who wants to make super soldiers. Soft-spoken, calm, knows what he wants, is very practical, and wants to, make America great again. And so Batman gets a little bit less than he actually wanted, but, Dr. Porter hasn't steered him wrong yet. And as Dr. Porter explains, it's actually, that Batman is actually becoming a bit dumber, because it's building up his muscles. It's not exactly building up his brain. It's actually dulling his brain to where he's a bit more, let's just say, malleable. And so outside, Batman meets up with the general's son, who was just kind of lurking around. Let's just say Daddy ain't so proud of his son. But Batman's like, I don't see anything wrong with you. You're perfectly fine the way you are. So that was a pretty nice moment. So Batman, despite being turned into a toxic masculine guy, isn't too far gone. He still does care. He's just in his own world, let's just say. But he decides to go after the two criminals from the previous chapter because they got on bail. By the way, it's 3 months later. And so he goes up, but then mysteriously they're shot because the general and Mr. Porter began to realize that they're kind of now a liability since the general is now fully funding him and Porter doesn't really need them for money anymore. In fact, Porter has been manipulating Batman into going after his competition for selling his drug. But anyway, Batman sees the assailants that killed the drug dealers and also the kidnappers. And so what he decides to do is literally throw a fridge at their car and it bursts through the wall. Which is, awesome. But then Batman goes out, and you know how people are getting kind of sick and tired of Batman just kind of being a humongous asshole and just beating the crap out of criminals for no reason? That's pretty much this Batman right now, because all he wants to do is pretty much hurt the criminals, the people that killed them, as well as get information out of them. But then, mysteriously, a car drives by, warns Batman to get out of the way, and then pretty much kills the two criminals. By the way, that was Slaycroft and his son. The son warned Batman, and Slaycroft killed the criminals. Batman is very much like, what the fuck just happened? Then he goes to visit Jim Gordon, who I can't decide is either young or old because he seems to have graying hair, but if this takes place a couple years after year one, he shouldn't have gray hair at all. At least not yet. Because I'm pretty sure Barbara would still be, young. But comic continuity, who cares? So Batman just kind of was like, okay, can you tell me about the ballistic report? And Jim's like, well, look who decided to show up after 3 months. And Batman's like, sorry, just, been working out, been trying some new weight loss, some new cereal. And Gordon's like, it's fine. Batman decides to warn him about smoking for some reason, then decides to leave. Before he leaves, he decides to ask, hey, Jim, how's the family? And they haven't exactly become best friends yet. So their relationship's super professional, and Jim's like, okay, it's kind of weird that you decided to ask that, and don't do it again. Batman's like, okay, sorry. Call you about the ballistic reports. And I think it's like some part of Bruce is trying to reach out for help by contacting his friends, and let's just say he's not really getting any help. And he kind of feels empty. He doesn't feel the thrill of, being Batman anymore. He just kind of feels empty. And then back with Mr. Porter and the General, they begin to realize that James Gordon can be kind of a problem. And that they need to test Batman for the final phase of his development. And so back with Batman, it turns out Alfred quit. I mean, being surrounded by a toxic masculine man, pretty sure any sane person would probably just want to get the hell out of there anyway. And Bruce is, let's just say, frustrated and is trying to figure out because he wants to talk to someone to try and get his mind on straight. So he decides just to talk to himself or the bats, either or. And he begins to realize that, hey, that was the Slaycroft kid that warned me. Why was he there? Why was he... Wait a minute. This thing is hard to move. This weight is hard to lift. I need more drugs. Shit, I'm out. Crap. That motherfucker ripped me off. I'm gonna go over there and tell him who's in charge. And so he bursts through and demands the pills. And then the general and Dr. Parker are like, hey, bro, we've been expecting you. But if you want those pills, you're going to have to earn them. He's like, what price? Kill Captain Gordon. And Batman's like, gotcha, boss. So let's just say Batman's in a bit of a hard place. He's very addicted to these pills because he wants to stay strong. And also just because he's addicted to them. To having the power. But he doesn't really want to kill his best friend, James Gordon. The closest thing he has to one. So when he reaches Gordon, he jumps out and says, I'm going to kill you. But, well, what I mean is, I was sent here to kill you, and these people kind of want you dead, so I'm going to go get them. And if I can't, and if they're still there, arrest them. So he leaves to go get Porter, and let's just say Porter and General Slaycroft have realized that Gordon knows about them and knows that they killed the two criminals. So they're just immediately booking for Santa Prisca. This came out before Bane, so this is the first reference to it. Mainly because it's, very corrupt, because it's Santa Prisca. But before they get in the car, because they have a plane that leaves in 1 hour, Batman shows up and demands that they go to jail. And so he, pretty easily deals with them. But when Dr. Porter says, hey, boy, look, your pills, go get them. Bruce is like, yes, my pills, I have them. As he realizes, wait, oh my god, I've become a drug addict. And so now he's realized, yeah, I need help. Because, well, Porter and the general have gone away, he can't exactly go chase after them. So he calls up Alfred, who quit last time, remember that? He's like, Alfred, you have to lock me in the cave for an hour. For like a month. Please. I need help. And that's exactly what Alfred does. So it kind of splits off into two sections. One is Batman's recovery, or I guess rehab, and one is Timothy Slaycroft Jr. Becoming big and bulky. So let's start with Batman. So pretty much Alfred is tortured because he really wants to help out Bruce, but he can't because, well, Bruce told him to lock him down there. So he's, obeying his orders. And eventually over a month, eventually a month passes and Bruce comes out, and this is why. You have to go stay in a cave for an entire month in order to get off drugs. That's why you shouldn't do drugs, kids. Batman says it. And knowing is half the battle. But anyway, back with Timothy. He's living in luxury in Santa Prisca, because I think this is before it became, pretty much hell to live in. So it's kind of more in a luxury area. So Timothy Jr. begins to talk to this Santa Prisca girl, or I guess Puerto Rican girl, and let's just say his father has much more harsh words than we were led to believe, as he flat out calls his son a wimp. He thinks his son is gay, and he also hates women. And he's also racist. So yeah, not good things, but things nonetheless. And so his dad's like, you know what? I got to turn that scrawny ass kid into a man. Sign him up for the experiment. And Dr. Porter's like, dude, you know it's kind of dangerous. Are you sure you want that? It's like, it's about time that weakling decided to become useful to me. Dr. Porter's like, okay, we'll get started. And over the course, he begins to become closer to the girl, making out and stuff. And like with poetry and stuff, actually connecting to her. But then he begins to train under the thing, and it starts to happen to him. He starts to become dull. He forgets about the poems and stuff. And the girl no longer wants to talk to him, but the next part of the surgery is happening. The next part of the experiment, the surgery. And now he's pretty much invincible. Like, the size of Bane, but his nervous system is, I think, gone, so he's pretty much invincible. His skin's kind of reinforced, all that jazz. And so, like, the girl was brought in, and she doesn't want anything to do with Timothy anymore, and Timothy kills her. General's like, "Oh, well done, experiment well done." But now back with Batman, Bruce is like, okay, I can't become Batman again unless I take down these two, because they did this to me, and I don't want anyone else to do this to them or meet again, specifically me. So now Batman's after Dr. Porter and the General. So Timothy is now completely just the Superman super soldier for his dad, along with some others. So they kill an entire village completely obediently because the doctor has given them hypnosis pills, pretty much making it so they'll do whatever the general says. And it turns out why the doctor didn't really care about his daughter's death, or the fact that he's, doing this to human beings, is because he's greatly increased his intelligence through pills. That has also dulled his emotional, intelligence. So he's pretty much just logic, my experiment, logic. Back with Batman, he checks up with Gordon and tells him that he's going after the doctor in where the doctor is, Santa Prisca. Out of Gordon's reach, but as we saw in The Dark Knight, now Batman's. So he goes aboard a plane with Alfred in tow to Santa Prisca. But the general gets a word out from his informants in the police that, a plane's coming to Santa Prisca from Gotham. So General, being a smart person he is, like, okay, and fires a bazooka at it, with the doctor seriously telling him, like, dude, I messed up that guy for life. He ain't coming by to get us. General's like, not taking the chance. So, Batman and Alfred parachute into the island. So while Batman's trying to look for Alfred, because he flew over the mansion because of the fact that, well, he was trying to recon, which wasn't very smart at all. If he wanted to get off the island with, that plane. So now Batman's in search of Alfred, but let's just say the general, and he avoids the general's, search squad that isn't the super soldiers. But now he's currently in search of Alfred, but let's just say the not super soldier men of the general found Alfred first, and the general, flies over the forest, is like, hey, we're gonna drop this guy with the sharks if you don't come get us. Come meet with us. And so he does, and he arrives and swims out to go rescue Alfred from the sharks because they nicked his wrists and feet and calling the sharks in. And since it's the world of fiction, sharks are like Jaws all the time. And with the Doctor trying to get Batman to take some of the pills, Batman refuses and then immediately has an epic fight with the shark, frees Alfred, kills that one shark, tries to avoid the other sharks because he got injured as well to avoid the blood. So he tips over the boat, a boat of locals, and arrives at the beach. He meets up with the Doctor, he punches them in the face, and Timothy Jr. then punches out Batman, and the general orders him to kill him. So back on the beach, he got knocked out by Timmy, but he's making a big distraction so Alfred can escape into the woods and find a boat and escape. He does, and eventually reaches America and tries to call Gordon to, go help Batman, but Gordon's like, I can't do that. It'd be causing a war. So Alfred just kind of leaves the story after that. But back with Batman. So pretty much Batman's like trying to talk Timmy out of it, but since Timmy's under the mind control juice, and since Timmy's brain is pretty much nothing anymore, he can't exactly get through to him, and Batman's like, what the hell did you guys do to him? And they're like, and the general and the scientists are like, we've made him better. We've made him just better. And Batman gets knocked out, but Dr. Port's like, hey, wait. I'm feeling kind of arrogant. I want him to be my next guinea pig. So he puts him through a serial experiment of pretty much the exact same thing Sissy had to go through. A giant door has to be pulled down by a chain. But only a strong, like a Superman can do it. But you can't. Not without the pills. And they're now really addictive. So if you want to escape super easily, you just take them. And so Batman, for the next 3 nights, has to figure out a way to pretty much knows how to do it. So he tirelessly scrapes away and removes giant bricks from the wall itself and makes the bed like a weight system for the chain. And while the entire room is flooding, by the way. And so he reaches the door and escapes after 3 days of confinement without the pills, aka using his brain and smarts to make it not easier, but without relying on the pills, because, well, that reason. But back with the General and Dr. Porter, let's just say the relationship is dying out because the General's getting suspicious and kind of worried that the Doctor is not being as reliable as he used to be. Because the General's becoming paranoid because he's like, what about all this? What about this? What about that? And the Doctor's like, don't worry about it, man. I'm so smart. I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, he knows that Batman's going to take the pills. He knows that the General won't betray him because he's smart enough, because he took those pills earlier, that decrease his emotional intelligence but increases his actual intelligence. And let's just say the General's finally had enough of his shit and decides to torture the information about the notes for the formula for Venom out of him. And let's just say the Doctor can say it, but can't take it. So he says the formula into a audio recorder. And let's just say the General was like, okay, I'm going to test this out first, and if it is correct, you're going to die. Like, painlessly and swiftly. If it isn't correct, you're going to die painfully. And then Batman breaks in because, well, remember he escaped and attempts to stop. The general, and pretty much does. Then goes to free the doctor. Doctor then uses Timothy in using his father's voice, because he only obeys his dad, to kill his dad through the audio recording. And so Timothy does so, and since he's super strong and invincible, Batman can't exactly stop him. And this completely breaks whatever was left of Timothy. So that was sad. But meanwhile, the doctor takes the pills that Batman had brought with him in order to make them not go to waste. Because the doctor's like, okay, if I take these, I'll become ultra powerful. And let's just say they do make him somewhat powerful, but not strong enough to escape. Oh, well, actually, okay. After he completely breaks Timothy, Batman takes the doctor to a helicopter, steals it, goes to Puerto Rico. Gordon arrives with the squad to arrest him, and then Gordon's like, okay, so apparently he was super strong and even bent the bars, but he couldn't escape. Probably wasn't strong enough. But Batman's like, no, he wasn't smart enough, because the bills made him dumb enough to not figure out like where to go and all that stuff. And eventually he died from withdrawals. And it's like, well, all else well, right, Batman? And Batman's just like, and all Bruce can really think about is the two kids that died from, let's just face it, two complete pieces of shit. And that was Batman Venom. This is the first story that would lead to the birth of Bane, with the introduction of the drug named Venom, and as well as the place called Santa Prisca. There are a couple other stories before the whole Nightfall event happened, such as this, Azrael's first adventure, and then the prelude to Nightfall, as well as the one we covered in one of the last videos, what was it called? The Vengeance of Bane. And then eventually Nightfall happened, and then Knight's Quest, and then Knight's Fall. But anyway, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
What? You did it? You must have cheated. There is no way you could have beaten me. Well, you asked for it, Batman. My final challenge for the whole of Gotham is just seconds away. What? Silence. The police. You cheated, Batman. You couldn't have outsmarted me. Please, open up! No. They can open the door now! Now! Down on the ground! Down on the ground! No! Tell me, how did you work out where I was? Do you hear me? I, Edward Nigma,
patient interview 17. Joker remains uncooperative. My earlier diagnosis remains true. I believe he enjoys his persona too much.
What's up, Doc?
Today I thought we'd try something different.
Oh, you make me blush, Doc. I have a girlfriend.
Dr. Quinzel, I know. I've seen the tapes. I saw what happened.
What can I say? I'm a charmer.
Anyway, I thought it would be good to talk about your childhood.
Oh, ever heard of romance, Doc? I don't give up the goods for free. You'll have to try harder.
What are you hiding?
Didn't you hear me? You scratch my back, Doc, and, well, I won't have you wrapped in plastic and left in a gutter.
Take patient interview 20. Joker is more interesting than I originally believed. When Project Titan is operational, I believe Joker will be the perfect test subject. Good afternoon. Today I thought I'd skip back to our previous conversations about your family.
Of course. I was born in a small fishing village. I always wanted to join the circus, but my father wouldn't really let me.
I don't believe you.
My father was a cop. 1 week from retirement when the mob...
I've seen the movie. What are you scared of?
Scared?
Yes, scared. There's obviously something. Something that made you what you are.
What if I'm too scared to remember? It hurts too much.
Then I can help you. These are the private notes of Dr. Young. Titan is a success. Even my funding worries have been solved after the unexpected donations from Mr. White. Joker has also shown a remarkable interest in the possibility of a cure. Once the protein bonding process is finalized, I will...
Dr. Young, you ready?
Oh, yes, come in.
You'll hurt my feelings, Doc, keeping me waiting like that.
Sit down. You can leave us.
You sure?
We're fine. Aren't we, Joker?
Oh, yes.
Well, if you insist. I'm just outside, okay?
So is he here? Did your patient X arrive?
Yes, I must say progressing more rapidly than I expected. But enough of that. Let's talk about you.
No. Let's talk more about your Titan project.
My what? How do
I know you have Bane strapped to a table in the basement while you pump him dry? Would you believe a lucky guess?
I've been a fool. Joker was behind it all. He's Jack White. He gave me the money, pulled the strings to release Bane. How could I not have seen it? He's been blackmailing me. He has a crazy plan to create an army of monsters. I want out, but... hello? Hello? Dr. Young's office.
Please hold for Mr. White.
What?
Hello, Doc. We need to talk.
I'm not doing it, Joker. Do you hear me? Wait. How did you get access to a phone?